Alright guys, today we'll be doing a tier list of the Kickoff Reload Rio event with Blast R6. It's a little bit different of a format, as you'll see when we get to the event itself, because you have these different new things. So, it's gonna be this bullet reload event, right? What does that mean? It kind of means that instead of having like, you lose 2 games, you're going home, you have bullets. And a bullet is almost like how many lives you have. And you need to like reload your weapon with those bullets to pretty much, put up how many bullets you want to go up against your opponent. If you put in more, you'll get more back as well, vice versa. You have these crazy cards. We're gonna have 1v1 duels at the event in the 3rd round and forward. You have a chicken card. If a team picks you as their opponent, you can play the chicken card and avoid the matchup. So it's very different, it's very exciting, and we're going to be ranking the teams at the event to the best of our ability. Starting off with the very first team, we're gonna start kind of easy here. Scars. Now, Scars, they've been a team from Japan for a very long time. They've been doing okay, but usually they bomb out pretty early internationally. However, domestically, they've been a killer team. There is one small thing now. They've actually made some roster changes. I think Scars, given how recent those roster changes are after Boston, I think they need more time to kind of turn this around, get into their groove, so they get the lowest ranking so far. Then you have Space Station Gaming. Now, they've made a change. They've gotten the boy Newers on the roster, which is very exciting. They lost Forrest. I feel like with this roster change for SSG, it will change their overall attacking playstyle. I rate this pretty well. I think SSG is a B tier level competition with potential for more. Hopefully this change will be an upgrade for them long term, and they can keep, getting better and better positions internationally. BDS. Bit of a cheat here, because if you're thinking BDS, Invitationals, Grand Finals, they made every single Grand Finals last year. They've been winning EWC back to back. The issue is BDS is no longer the BDS that you think of. The BDS French, well, mostly French roster, not international, they have gone to Falcons. This BDS that we're ranking right now is going to be Freck, Lasmo, P4, Robbie, and Virtue. Now, I think this roster, with it being very young, very new, is going to need some time to warm up as well. A good old B tier presentation, they can impress us, they go to A. They can also fall very, very short, go down to a C level instead. Then we have Falcons. This is the former BDS. This one's obviously a whole lot easier. These guys are some of the GOATs. Leaky Fact specifically, being one of the best players to ever do it as an IGL, as a strategist. Leaky Fact reminds me so much of a much younger and mechanically better Fabian, where he will find the gaps, call the shots, have the strats, have the adaptations, but also play like an entry flex role in the server, often leading his team into battle, taking risks himself, and not being afraid to take those gunfights, because if he dies, he can call the strat from the cameras, from watching POVs, etc. instead. I expect Falcons to make most finals this year. They had so many chances, as they made every single final in the previous year, and they absolutely could have won them. And that's where like a little bit of chokes, a little bit of nerves came into it, and they fell short, right? Then we have PSG. Now, small thing here. I guess now officially gonna leak the roster, because nobody knows what our roster is. We have not made any changes, okay? It's still gonna be the same 5 boys. Gotti, Soldier, Ryder, Misa, and Yas. The only thing is that instead of Fabian as head coach, he's now retired and he's left. We have gotten Joker, the former analyst, as the current head coach instead. So PSG, I think this is going to be a tricky event for APAC in general. PSG no exception, with the operator ban system changes, with the uncertainty of how the game is going to change. Playing, on Siege X as well. There's a lot of things happening there. I want to put them on B tier. I really want to believe. But I think we have to still prove ourselves. It's a new calendar year. We had our first year run. We did okay. We made, 3 out of 4 events in the calendar year, but we didn't really break into top 8, which was our goal in a big dreamy world. We still gotta do that. Speaking of PSG, by the way, make sure you check out the R6 esports tab in the in-game store. The bundles are out. You can buy the old skins, SMG11, the R4C, the Thorn bundle, etc. The MK14 for Aruni DMR, Tokibi DMR. When Dokebi's not banned, that is. So go in the store, check that out. It's supposed to team, the players, the content creators, all of us. Thank you so much. W7M. Brazilian teams, they tend to do pretty damn well. W7M, they are no exception. They have the players, and they made one change. They lost Dash, but they've gained Palu from Liquid. This could be really good. I rate W7M very highly. I think they have a lot of potential, and I don't think that's going to change a whole lot. Elevate, we don't know the roster officially, so very hard to rank them. They are an org that has been in APAC for the most of their time, but they have been around different avenues before. And I'm not sure if they're gonna import players or do it domestically, etc. But looking at the players that are left available to you right now at this moment, I don't have the highest hopes for them. So I'm gonna put them D tier. If they get some crazy players or a crazy roster together, of course this can change, but I'm not expecting the most out of them, I'll be honest and say. M80 have made some changes as well. This is one of those superstar roster player teams that should have been winning and they just didn't really do anything. They kind of fell off. They got grouped very often. Top 8 in Manchester Major, lost to Dark Zero in a 0-2 matchup. 13-16 SI, 4th in Stage 2 domestically, 17-20 at the SI24. They have not had a very good run. They parted ways with both Spoyd and Packer, but they also gained some massive names. They've gotten Hot and Cold and Gavin. I think they're S tier. I think this is going to be their event where they're going to show the world how good they should have been and how good they can be. But I am expecting like a top 4 performance from them unless they play teams like Falcons early in the bracket in top 8. In that case, it's going to be a top 8, top 6 finish or whatever. But I think they're going to go far. Fearless Foxes. This, of course, the grudge matchup if you're PSG Talon, right? These like FearX and PSG in Korea that are going head to head. They've gotten Coded and Woogieman. Most important here, Woogieman was sought after by like every Korean team wanted this man because he's one of the few IGLs and in-game leader captains that Korea has to offer. And by everyone's opinion, he's like the best. I'm gonna rank them in the same level as PSG because I still think both of these two teams are on equal terms. Also, when they scrim each other, there's no massive outlier where FearX always dunks on PSG or vice versa. It's a matter of who shows up on the day as the best teams. C9. I don't rate this roster. I want more from them. I wish for them to have... I think I just need for them to prove to me how good they are. They played top bracket semifinals when I wanted to have that crazy, like good, spectacular run. I just don't see the mix of players and I don't really even know how the roles are going to work out exactly. And I feel like they would need crazy individual performances to find their footing at this event. I think Cloud9 is going to have to be like a D, C tier situation. I mean, if we're going to have to make a hot take, I'm going to put C9 in D tier and just say they're gonna be struggling. They're gonna suck outright. I guess I'm a Cloud9 hater. I'm sorry, not sorry. And Dream, I love you, man, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Fnatic is a similar situation where Fnatic have not had a stable roster like ever. They have gone through so many roster changes throughout the last couple of years and they just haven't found stability. They haven't found their footing. I'm gonna put them in C tier, which again, they're above Cloud9, but they're hanging down here with APAC. They really need to prove to everybody that the roster changes they've been making, they're the right ones. And I wanna see leadership from Deepak as like the veteran on this roster because they need that leadership figure. But they also need to be able to play together, synergize, hit their shots. And then stick a damn roster, man. Come on. Lock it in for a year and try and do your best to work, yeah? Loud, this is a cool one. So they played as Rasa Academy during SI Boston in February. Loud then entered Rainbow Six Siege and gave these guys a home. They got a much better situation ahead of them and they're from Brazil. And Brazil cannot be below B tier. It's very simple. It doesn't matter who you are. Whenever I look at the documentaries and I speak to players, it seems like most Brazilian Siege pros, they live and breathe Rainbow Six Siege more than in Europe and North America. They give 100% and their performance really shows as well. They've been solid as a region the last, 3 years, 4 years. They've been excellent. Then we have Secret, another European team, the Gunner Stack. This is like if you had like the top FPL, top ranked players put into one Pro League roster. They are gonna be running their opponents. They're gonna take every single fight, the good and the bad ones, and that could be their downfall. And I don't see a player in this roster that's like that older veteran going, guys, let's slow it down. Let's do this instead. I'm gonna put them B tier as a safe bet here. They could be A, they could be C. I think the matchups that they get, like who their opponent is, will determine a lot about the outcome as well as the maps. Take Secret to map like Border Chalet where like you can just like frag it out. Take them to like Bank, Flophouse, Skyscraper. I don't know how they're gonna do. Base, ECS. One of the most consistent teams in the world like ever. Won SI finals the previous year, won the last one, and they just made BDS, current Falcons, I know that's confusing, looked like they weren't a world-class team. They cannot be anywhere else but S. CAG, I love these guys. They never make it far internationally, but they are fun to watch. I think the CAG that we saw in Boston was the best iteration that they had, but they were in a tough bracket. They've slowed down their game plan. They're less chaotic, and they are so good at using utility. And I think CAG, if they can stay with this kind of newer found play style and keep improving it and making it better, they will become B tier before this year is over. And hopefully as well have the results to show for it, not getting grouped first every single time. Then we have Dark Zero. Dark Zero, I'm actually gonna put S tier as well. Dark's is my dark horse now. I really like them even before the current roster. I feel like they've always had one player that's a bit of a weak link. I think that's gone now. I think they have the full 5-man package, but Nave has to be sharp on the leadership. Nave has to make these boys so that they know what they're doing. Furia, a little bit of a hot take, maybe gonna put them A tier. They had their, 2 years of reign of terror, winning SI, winning every major, going to finals, making top 4s, yada yada yada, back as W7M into Furia. But they have fallen off in recent history. They struggle with the shield meta, and they have not really ever been known as a super strategical team, but also frag oriented, taking gunfights. And other people have looked at these guys for such a long time now, trying to adapt what they've been doing. They're no longer the #1 top dog changing the world. Liquid, this is the classic. They always get like the second best situation happening for them. They kept the core of Nesk, Resets, and Maya, which I think is an incredibly strong trio of players, but I don't know who the last 2 pickups are. I have no idea. Based off that, I don't think they will go down to C tier. They'll be B tier or A tier. Liquid are always around, but they don't get that trophy they've been after and chasing for so long. G2, according to this sheet, they don't have a roster. I don't think they've made any changes. I think this roster depends a little bit about Doki's individual performance, because I think when he's hot, this team is crazy. Of course, LMAO lawyer on the entries, but that can be supported by drone work. And then Unu's ability to IGL and have enough information to make the right decisions. I like good G2. I think they're hot on LAN tournaments. I expect many things from them. There's always gonna be that slight bias. A tier for me. And it leaves just one team. Wildcard have done something very funky. I think this is the funkiest roster I've ever seen, in recent times at least. Bay, Spiker, Kansen. Nothing out of the norm, right? It's a North American team. And they have Baby Shark from France and Dash from Brazil. I don't even know if they speak the same language, these players. I actually have no idea. I feel like this could be a D tier situation. It could be an A tier situation. The safe bet for me is C, because it's a young roster. I think there could be a language barrier, communication problems. They come from 3 different regions of how you play Rainbow Six Siege, because if you're from Brazil, EU, or North America, you will play the game differently. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the case in every game almost. Is there any teams that I'm not super happy with? I actually don't know. Like, I think that the C9 thing is just very hard to gauge. Like, I don't really know where I have them, and I feel bad about putting them in D, but I frankly don't have a clue. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a C9 hater. I think I'm just gonna stick it. I think that's it. The reload format is very unique, as I mentioned earlier. Think of it as like a highly competitive show match with a big prize pool and a trophy at the end. And it's getting played on, I believe, Siege X. The new whole like overhaul of graphics, small minor changes. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I think so. And then if I'm completely wrong, we can go back and go, I don't know anything. And if I was completely right, I can take all the praise and go, you know what? I'm smart. There's always gonna be like a crazy team that underperforms and or overperforms. But usually, I think the average outcome of these tier lists has been pretty accurate. But the big roster changes and no tournaments leading up to this, besides CL, which like these teams are not participating in, it's been very hard to get a gauge and a feel for how these teams will do. So hopefully, we're not too far off. I hope you guys, if you'll be watching Rio, will enjoy the event. It's going to be a good time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon. Take care.